Hey Cake, it's Tuesday. Welcome to Information Fortnight. I decided to do something about my fake major, English. Books are just such a huge part of my life. It's cheeseballs, that sounds. So nowadays the way that a book gets to the shelves is through a 10-step, I have it down to a 10-step process. First, an author writes a story. Once upon a time. Oh yeah, that's good. Second, that story goes to a publisher. Step 3, which is the super fun step of editing and proofreading. After they have this new version of the book that everyone likes, then they have all of the aesthetics. So they pick a font, they pick margins, they pick cover art, illustrations if applicable. Step 5 is called typesetting. Nowadays, typesetting is done on a computer, so basically they have a digital copy of the book. Step 6 is they take pictures of all the pages from the typeset. This creates what they call page negatives, so it's just like a picture, the negative of the picture. Step 7 is when they lay out all these negatives, picture negatives of the pages onto goldenrods, which are these big sheets. Step 8, they expose these pictures to UV light, which creates a blueprint, and it's called that because it actually kind of looks like a blueprint, like the color and everything, and also it's like the blueprint of a novel, the construction of how the book's gonna look. They do one last check. They look at all the blueprints, make sure that there's no typos, stuff like that. Once they have it exactly the way they want it, they put the blueprints, they scan it, and it comes out on aluminum plates. So physical, you could textured plates of the words, how the novel's going to be. Or I keep saying novel, but obviously this goes for non-fiction as well. They put this stuff on there that makes it accept ink. Step 10, the pages are printed on, and then they bind the books, and then they get them out, and then we get to read them. I decided to look into ebooks versus printed books. I love the form of printed books. I love sitting down with something that I can hold and turn the pages of, something physical, and it feels warm and cuddly kind of. I don't get the same feeling from my laptop, so I personally prefer printed pages. The pros of the printed book is they're already saying ebooks cause eye strain because you're staring at essentially a computer screen. Right now, the price for ebooks is far greater. I'm sure as they get more and more popular, that won't be as much of an issue. The nice thing about print books is you don't have to worry about battery life. You never have to power on your printed books. The good things about ebooks, they're extremely portable because you essentially can, have 6 books on your little ebook instead of carting around 6 heavy printed books. There's a lot of options on ebooks, things like being able to make the font bigger, being able to take notes in the margins and stuff without actually damaging a real book. They're not permanent notes, you can get rid of them if you want to. Also, you never have to worry about lighting. That just comes with naturally having an ebook. I looked a lot at how environmentally friendly ebooks are as compared to print books, and I couldn't find a clear answer. Obviously, print books use a lot of paper, which is bad for trees, which is bad for the environment. Having an ebook also uses a lot of electricity, uses a lot of power. The things that they use, the materials they use to make them, like copper, plastic, things like that, you're still consuming that in consuming an ebook. The best I can tell you is print books, essentially you're spending more resources in them being produced in the paper, but once they are produced, they use a lot less resources than having an ebook, which is the opposite. In producing them, there's not as much waste, but maintaining them, using the electricity, things like that, that's where you use the resources. One site said that if you read a lot of books, then it's more environmentally friendly to get an ebook because you will, over time, it will pay for itself in your carbon footprint, essentially. If you're not reading a ton, then it's better to just buy printed books. As far as popularity, they are becoming a much larger part of the overall book market. In 2009, they only represented 3%. In 2010, they rose to 8%, which is a pretty big jump for 1 year. In popularity and usage, their sales went up 164%, which is insane. And the last thing I want to talk about is literacy. I found a breakdown of literacy rates across the world. So I'm gonna put it here, hopefully. As you can tell, the highest rates of illiteracy occur in Africa and in certain parts of Asia. The country with the lowest rate of literacy in the world is Mali, which is in Africa. They have a 24% literacy rate. The working definition of functionally illiterate is that you don't have enough reading skills to read a newspaper or a contract or things like that and be able to comprehend it, which obviously makes it very difficult to function. The United States has a very high literacy rate. It's in the high 90s. I get different figures in different sites, above 97%. In California, we have 24% of the population is functionally illiterate, which is huge. Our state has the highest percentage of functionally illiterate citizens. There's a pretty clear correlation between lower socioeconomic status and lower rates of literacy. Literacy fosters education, lifelong learning. Literacy is fundamental to a lot of jobs, especially the higher paid jobs. The people who are stuck in the lowest socioeconomic class because of illiteracy, or at least in part, that's a contributing factor. It's hard to rise above that or do any better, money-wise, because you need those skills in a lot of the higher paying jobs. Another big one, literacy makes a huge difference in our country because we have, a democracy where things like voting and, participating in the government at all requires reading. 20% of the worldwide population is illiterate, which is huge. All of these connections, they seem pretty obvious, and yet it's still this huge problem. I know that the Harry Potter Alliance does a lot of stuff to increase literacy, sending books places. There's another site that I found that tries to do something similar. It's called the Literacy Site, and it's basically like a store. You can buy clothes and jewelry and stuff on there, and every purchase helps to buy books that they then send to other places. There's a different site that I found that's called the Literacy Alliance. That one is more trying to increase literacy, not necessarily trying to increase books. So it's all about tutoring and working in the community. I'll put links to both of those down below. Kind of random topics. I hope that it wasn't too obvious. I know it's kind of an obvious topic, so I hope you learned something. I am way down for not punishing. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow, Diana, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.